Have you ever found yourself wanting to know that something will work out before you try it? Wanting to be certain that it's going to be something that you're great at? Whether it is making a new offer in your business, whether it's getting a new job, whether it's a new relationship or trying a new sport, you want those guarantees that it's going to be fab from the get-go. Well, guess what? There aren't no guarantees, my friend. The only guarantee is that you can figure things out. Now, today, we're going to be talking about how waiting for certainty, waiting for these guarantees is absolutely screwing with your business, absolutely screwing with your life, to be honest, your income, everything that you desire, and how to overcome your need for certainty and your need for guarantees. And plus, if you stay till the end, you're going to discover the 5 things you can do right away to shift everything and shift out of this mindset altogether. Hey, guys. So today we are talking about the idea that if you are waiting for certainty, you are screwed in your business and in terms of making more money and in terms of having what you want, whether it's your relationships, whether it's freedom, whatever it is, how this need for certainty, this need for guarantees is absolutely messing everything up for you and what to do instead. So I'm Dr. Ash. I am a psychologist with over 20 years of experience helping entrepreneurs and folks scale to higher levels of success, wealth, and abundance. And I have seen this time and time again that this becomes a handbrake in people's businesses, in people's success, in people's relationship with what it is that they desire in their life is they're waiting to know it's going to work. They're waiting to know they're going to be successful. They're waiting for guarantees. They just don't want to fail. It becomes such a big freaking monster in the room that guess what happens instead? They end up not doing the thing a lot of the times. They end up going really slow. They end up trying to over-perfect everything. They end up procrastinating, going into perfectionism, trying to make sure everybody's going to approve and nobody's ever going to have anything negative to say about anything that they're doing or that they're going to be the best person and, hit a homer at the very first at-bat. Well, guess what? None of that crap ever frickin' happens. So hashtag sorry, not sorry, but let's be real. You are going to mess up. Things are going to be radically imperfect. We're going to do all kinds of crazy things that, experiments in life that don't work out. We need to cultivate this idea that it is safe to try things without being certain that they'll succeed, that it is safe to go out there and experiment and take risks without a guarantee that this one time I'm trying this thing is going to be that homer, that home run the first time you're at bat or kicking a goal the first time you kick a soccer ball or whatever sport is your pleasure, running faster than the wind the first time you've ever used your legs. That's just not the way this works. You see, everything in life is learned, right? We have to learn how to do things. We have to learn how to get better at things. Babies don't learn to walk by being born and then running out the door. That'd be weird. No, but seriously, babies learn to walk by getting up over and over and over again and figuring it out along the way, right? They figure out how to stand first. They figure out how to take one step. They figure out how to wobble along holding something. And then finally, they're walking along, right? But if they needed certainty, if they needed guarantees you're going to be the fastest kid out there before they even learn to stand up, guess what? They probably wouldn't learn to stand up because there wouldn't be a guarantee. Because that kid needs to learn to walk first before it can learn to run, before it can run a race, before it can know how good it is. And the same is true for us when it comes to our business, when it comes to our life, when it comes to our income, is we're so tied up in knowing that this thing is going to work out perfectly that we tie our self-worth, we tie our sense of deservingness, we tie the crap that we say to ourselves about whether or not we're the type of person that gets to have this thing to whether or not we do it right the first time. And we tie that to a need for certainty. And then what happens is that need for certainty, that need for guarantees stalls us, keeps us stuck, keeps us in a chronic stressed out state where we are not able to engage with the delight of what it is that we're trying to achieve, and instead just feel the intense pressure for needing to get it right. Here's the thing. Certainty basically removes us from this idea that we are in the process of evolution at all times. It removes us from the idea that we can play and experiment with ideas, with new ways of being, and not have it figured out. That we can be the, mad scientist in the lab, Beaker from the Muppets going, pouring things in the beakers and watching things explode maybe half the time. But guess what happens the other half of the time? We have an epic discovery of what it is that we could make and what it is we have inside of us because we were willing to take the risk to do it despite not having certainty, to do it despite not knowing whether or not it was going to work out, to do it despite not understanding whether or not we have what it takes yet. Because let's be honest, we don't always have what it takes to do all the things. Some people have a terrible singing voice and maybe they shouldn't sing. But how would they know that if they never tried? Or how would they know that if they never took lessons and you needed certainty that they were going to be the best singer on the planet, right? Anyway, the point I'm trying to say is we need to see that the need for certainty, the need for guarantees that everything that we do is going to be great or perfect or work out is actually what stops us from taking the exact actions, from taking the risks, from having the bold, courageous heart to go out there and try the thing that we don't know if we're going to be good at, that we don't know if we're going to succeed at, and trying anyway and discovering through our impassioned, pleasurable, playful experimentation that we had it within us all along. You see, we cannot. There's this really great quote by this yogi. I'm going to say the name really bad. Desikachar, who says we can never experience our real nature if we do not expose ourselves to change. And guess what happens? Change exists outside of your comfort zone. Guess what is outside of your comfort zone? The things that you aren't sure you're going to be good at. One of my favorite quotes in philosophy is by this Greek philosopher Heraclitus. He says, you can't step into the same river twice. The idea here is that the river is always flowing. The river is always changing. The river is always moving. What this means is that I can't ever be certain of the step I'm going to take into that river. I can't ever be certain of what's going to wait for me. Am I going to step on a fish? Am I going to step on a rock? The rocks will move, right? Because the river is always moving. The water will always be different. And this is the truth of our existence. Things are always changing. That's the only thing we can really be sure of. Things are always changing, whether it's the market's changing, whether it is demand for our products and services are changing, whether it's the color of our hair is changing, whether it is how we feel moment to moment is changing, whether it's the air that we're taking in around us is changing. Change is the only constant. But the need for certainty actually is a desire to lock into form, to lock into place what is going on at this moment, and to lock it into form, into place for forever. So that I can always know what to expect, so that I always know the template, so that I never have to be confronted by the anxiety of not knowing, by the existential crisis that I'm not sure. And maybe I'm not sure if I even know what I'm doing. But when we are constantly seeking that certainty, what we're doing is we're basically telling ourselves that anxiety and fear that we're trying to engage with, that uncertainty to avoid, is more powerful than we are. We're actually telling our subconscious mind that trying new things is dangerous. We're telling our subconscious mind, part of our brain outside of our awareness, that what it is that we want to try our hand at is far too threatening, and we need to hold back and instead wait to be certain that we're going to be good at something before we ever try it. This keeps us in a prison of our own limitations. This keeps us in a prison of our comfort zone that says, I'm only allowed to be this because this is all I can be sure of. This is all I have the guarantees for. And it is so limiting. And it is so small. And it is too freaking small for you. It's too freaking small for you. So this is why we have to let go of the need for certainty, because certainty is a lie. You cannot be certain of what's going to happen. You cannot be certain of what will happen tomorrow. The only thing you can be certain of are two things: of yourself and of this moment right here and right now. You see, certainty a lot of times comes up, the need for certainty comes up a lot of times due to experiences from the past that felt really out of control. The need for certainty is essentially our desire to have control over everything so that we can anticipate when danger is coming. This teaches our subconscious mind that danger is coming. It is a form of hypervigilance, and it can be a trauma response. Think about the post-traumatic stress disorder. One of the hallmarks of post-traumatic stress disorder is hypervigilance for the next threat. The need for certainty is basically telling yourself that I will never be at threat again. It's an attempt to protect yourself from the things that you fear and from the things that you're anxious about. So when you've had these things in the past that have impacted you, whether it's your parents getting divorced, whether it's a business failure, whether it's bankruptcy, whatever it might be, and you have a need for certainty in terms of your relationship, that your business is going to work out, or that your investments are going to work out, well, guess what? All of those are actually those needs for certainty and those three things are a response to the trauma in the past about something related to that. So trauma can impact business decisions in huge ways. Childhood experiences with financial stability, instability, businesses or career failures, or not, having a boss tell you off one time, or taking a new job and it being horrible. And so now you're afraid to take a new job, or betrayal of trust wounds, whether it's with best friends or your family, or systemic marginalization and feeling as though you don't fit in or you're not given a fair shot. Things like that. It can make you hypervigilant about your decision making. It can make you overthink and slip into anxiety and worry and fear about every single little less detail instead of trusting your gut and trusting your intuition. It can make you risk averse. And let's be honest, to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be willing to take risks, period. I'm going to make a stand for that and make sure you understand you have to be willing to take risks in order to be a successful entrepreneur. You have difficulty trusting your intuition. You have an over-reliance on external validation. And the way this shows up in your business is excessive planning and preparation. Well, if I just do more, and if I just do more research, and if I just get more certifications, and if I just do more of this stuff, then I'll know it's going to work out. It can be externalization of your power to other people. Well, somebody else knows better than me, and they're going to give me the magic formula for me to understand that it's all going to work out. It can result in things like of difficulty delegating or difficulty letting go of control. Well, I know if I do everything myself and I carry everything on my back, it's all good. A fear of visibility or exposure. I know that I've never ever seen, if nobody ever sees my stuff and I never stick my neck out, well, then I can't get hurt and it's all going to work out, right? A resistance to investing in your growth. Well, I know that if I stay small, I don't ever have to confront the potential failure of growth that doesn't work out. And then I get to feel like it's all working out, even though I'm not really getting what I want, right? So how does this need for certainty show up in your business? It shows up, like I said, in perpetual planning, perpetual, market research without launching, offer tweaking without selling, over preparation when you go into visibility opportunities. You ever find yourself doing a video and then doing it 35 times instead of just doing it and putting it out there? You'll just put it out there. Just let yourself express yourself. It's not about whether or not, how people receive you. It's about your courage to show up and just do it anyway without these guarantees. It's looking for reassurance from your audience, from other people. It's feeling as though, you can't put anything out there, whether it's a post on social media, whether it is a new offer, whether it is, asking somebody on a date, whether it is an investment opportunity, whatever it is, without knowing that it's going to work out. It is perpetually being in the spin cycle of, I don't know. 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 Well, guess what? We don't ever really know. What we do have, and let's now go back to what I said were the solutions. What we do have is we have trust. We have self-trust. We have the trust that says everything is figure outable. We have the trust that says I am the highest expert and the highest authority in my own life. We have the trust that says I know what I'm talking about. We have the trust that says I can rely on myself. Now, these aren't the fight or flight response, I have to go it alone and fight my way through life kinds of experiences where we say, I'm going to trust myself. I can rely on myself. This is the calm and expansive and grounded feeling of I can rely on myself and I can trust myself and I can trust my intuition and I can trust what's going on the inside and I can trust my decision making and I can trust when I have a great idea. And I can trust when I have an idea that doesn't even make sense, right? The second piece here is a bit more philosophical. It's the idea that the only thing we can ever be sure of is this present moment, is this moment right here, right now, this breath. And the next one. This moment. This moment, this moment. Each one of those moments is an invitation to step further and deeper into trust of yourself, of the next breath, of the next moment. Because the truth is, everything is okay in this moment. The truth is, everything is okay right here, right now. The truth is, you are always safe right here, right now. It's when we project ourselves into the fears of the future, or we project ourselves into the potential traumas and things that have gone on in the past, that we begin to not feel that safety right here, right now, when we return to the present and return to our breath. So, like I said, there's two of the 5 things that we can do instead of seeking certainty is present moment focus, to let go of that fear of not knowing and realizing in this moment it's always available to me, knowledge, groundedness, presence, safety. It's always here. Secondly, it's cultivating more self-trust. It's understanding that self-trust comes from taking actions despite not knowing if things will work out. It's building evidence of self-trust. And it's understanding that, we have self-trust available to us at all times within ourselves. It's then befriending this idea of uncertainty. See, we think uncertainty is the enemy. We think it's a stop sign. It's not. It's just not knowing. But we pretty much don't know anything. Right? We don't know a lot of things, but it doesn't mean it's a stop sign. It doesn't mean it's a foe. It doesn't mean it's a monster. It doesn't mean it's an enemy. Uncertainty is the only reality. Nothing is certain. And you can perpetually chase it and fight for certainty, and you'll be fighting for the rest of your life, and you'll be chasing the rest of your life. Or you can accept reality and play with possibility and become the mad scientist and begin to have a little party with uncertainty and say, you're not so threatening. You're not something that is here to tell me that everything is wrong. You're here to help me expand and grow. And that comes with the 4th thing that we can do to really help ourselves to move from the need for certainty to something else, is to get comfortable with the idea that uncertainty is a fact of life, and to maybe even reframe uncertainty from the term uncertain, which can sound kind of overwhelming and scary, to growing pains. Because as I said, growth happens on the edge of your comfort zone, happens just outside of your comfort zone, which means it's not that comfortable, peeps. It's not that comfortable. So when we reframe uncertainty as an opportunity for growth, when we reframe it as a normal part of life, when we reframe it as the thing that will take us to wherever it is we desire to go, and we realize that the most successful entrepreneurs are friends, again, the last point, with and embrace uncertainty, we then become empowered to embrace uncertainty as well, even though it's uncomfortable. And we become empowered to be able to experience discomfort and not run away from it. Because the more we run away from discomfort, the more we show our subconscious mind that this thing that we're uncomfortable with is too threatening and that we need to avoid it at all costs. So if we're uncomfortable with money, we're uncomfortable with success, or we're uncomfortable with relationships, guess what? We're going to run away from them. And guess what tells us that we're uncomfortable a lot of times is uncertainty, particularly if we have this twisted up relationship with uncertainty, as I've been talking about today. So the thing is, as I said, being outside of your comfort zone, your business grows when you grow. You can't grow when everything is certain. You can't grow when you have the knowledge that the outcome is always going to work out. You have to grow by doing things that you don't know how to do yet. You have to grow by cultivating new skills that you are not good at yet. You have to grow by being willing to go into, as they say in Buddhism, the beginner's mind. The mind that says, I don't know what I'm doing and that's okay. But that's uncomfortable. And that can be, cause some anxiety and fear, but that doesn't mean that it's a stop sign. And it doesn't mean that it's telling you to stop. Now, the fifth thing that you can do, and this is one I really, really like, is understand that if you shift from certainty, what are we going to replace it with? Let's replace it with clarity. Let's replace it with clarity about what we want. Let's replace it with clarity about the fact that we can trust ourselves. Let's replace it with clarity of our vision. Let's replace it with clarity of what it is, which beaker we're going to be grabbing from the counter and pouring into the experimental beaker, I guess. Instead of clinging on to the certainty of how you're going to get it. Instead of clinging onto the certainty of how it's going to happen. Instead of clinging on to the certainty that involves an expectation that it's this or nothing. And instead moving into the clarity of what it is that we're creating. Now, a couple of little bonus little things that you can do to move from one to the other, from certainty to clarity, from certainty to freedom, for crying out loud, is really work with your nervous system, with your stress response, so that you're not clinging onto certainty in order to not feel stressed because of things like past trauma, and healing your past trauma and realizing that your past prepared you for this moment and that you can create new patterns of safety within your body, within your cellular neurobiological system. And then the last thing that I want to encourage you to do, and I'd love to hear about what this looks like for you, is go out there and take action despite uncertainty. Identify something that you've been uncertain about and go try something. Just go shoot your shot and see how it works out. Because what you're going to do by taking that shot is you're going to teach your subconscious mind that it's safe to take a shot, even if you don't know if you're going to make a basket. All right. Let me know how that worked out for you. Let me know what actions you were taking, and let me know what questions you have about how to let go of certainty and how to claim that self-trust that is the essence of being a successful entrepreneur.